Hello, welcome to this week's video on Madeline's Magic. This week's drink is some homemade iced tea, some homemade lemon, ginger, mint and honey iced tea. It's good. Oh yeah, also I dyed my hair green because I got bored of having the purple hair for like 3 years. Anyway, this week's topic is Annatto. Let's dive right in. So, Annatto is an orange-red condiment and food colouring derived from the seeds of the achiote tree. The Latin name is Bixa orellina. The achiote tree is one of the oldest known natural dye-yielding plants. Also, if the camera just keeps going out of focus, we're just going to have to live with it. Indigenous to the Caribbean, South and Central America, it is widely cultivated in tropical countries such as Mexico, Peru, Indonesia, Ecuador, Kenya, India, and East Africa. Annatto has several other names including achiote, achiotello, bija, uricum, and atsuete. I apologise if I've pronounced them wrong. The pulp from the seeds has long been used topically by indigenous people to enhance the beauty of lips, which has led to the origin of B. orellina's nickname as the lipstick tree. It is often used to impart a yellow or orange colour to foods, but sometimes also for its flavour and aroma. Its scent is described as slightly peppery with a hint of nutmeg, and the flavour as slightly nutty, sweet and peppery. The colour of annatto comes from various carotenoid pigments, mainly bixin and norbixin, found in the reddish waxy coating of the seeds. The more norbixin in the annatto, the more yellow it is. The higher level of bixin gives it a more orange shade. Ground annatto seeds, often mixed with other seeds or spices, are used in the form of paste or powder for culinary use, especially in Latin America, Jamaican, Belizean, Chamorro, Vietnamese and Filipino cuisines. Though it may not be well known, an estimated 70% of natural food colours are derived from it. Annatto and its extracts are now widely used in artisanal and industrial scale as colouring agent in many processed food products, such as cheeses, dairy spreads, butter and margarine, custards, cakes, other baked goods, potatoes, snack foods, breakfast cereals, smoked fish, sausages, and more. In these uses, annatto is a natural alternative to synthetic food colourings, but it has been linked to rare cases of food-related allergies. It was not initially used as a food additive, but for other purposes such as ritual and decorative body painting, which is still an important tradition in many Brazilian native tribes, sunscreen and insect repellent, and for medicinal purposes. I could use some for some sun cream today because it is boiling outside. It was used for Mexican manuscript painting in the 16th century. Annatto has been traditionally used both as a colouring and flavouring agent in various cuisines from Latin America, the Caribbean, the Philippines and other countries, where it was taken home by Spanish and Portuguese colonisers in the 16th century. Its use has spread in historic times to other parts of the world, and it was incorporated in local culinary traditions of many countries outside of the Americas. Men of the Chaychilla tribe in Ecuador are highly recognisable thanks to their traditional bright orange hair, which is achieved by using crushed seeds of annatto. It is believed that they have been doing so for centuries. I think it's pronounced Chaychilla. It's Tsachilla. Chaychilla? I apologise, I'm sorry, I'm trying. This tradition is believed to have been a palliative measure from a time when the Chaychillas were exposed to the ravages of smallpox. The Chaychilla shaman asked the spirit to guide them to a cure by ceremony and prayer. They were guided to an achiote bush. They covered themselves completely with the red juices of the seed pods, and after a few days, the mortality in the group was drastically reduced. They are forever grateful to this plant for the protection that it offered to the entire community from smallpox. The shape of their hairstyle is said to be fashioned to look like seed pods, which I think is pretty cool. In the United States, annatto extract is listed as a colour additive, exempt from certification, and is informally considered to be a natural colouring. In the European Union, it is identified by the E number E160B. In cheese, the yellow and orange hues naturally vary throughout the year as cows' feed changed. In the summer, with fresh grass and its natural carotene content, the milk produced would have a natural orange tint. as would the cheese made from it, while at other times of the year the tint would be greatly reduced. As the pigment is carried in the cream, skimming the milk, which some farmers did to make butter or sell it separately, the lesser quality cheese from such milk would be white. To fool the consumer, the cheesemakers introduced colorants to imitate the more intense colors of the finer summer cheese. Initially, these colors came from saffron, marigold, and carrot juice, but later, annatto began being used. I keep pronouncing it differently. Annatto. You know what I'm talking about now. The earliest known documentation of annatto's use in cheese is in a 1743 Dutch volume, Huishoudelijk Woordboek. I'm so sorry. Household Word Book. Other historical documents from the period confirm that using annatto, then called Orlean or Orleans, to colour cheese was being done by the mid-18th century. England is another country that has used annatto to colour their cheeses. Colourants had been added to Gloucester cheese as early as the 16th century to allow inferior cheese to masquerade as the best double Gloucester, with annatto later being used for that purpose. This usage was subsequently adopted in other parts of the UK for cheeses such as Cheshire and Red Leicester, as well as coloured cheddar made in Scotland. Love a good bit of cheese, mate. That practice has extended to many modern processed cheese products, such as American cheese and Velveeta. The original Aztec drinking chocolate is reported to have contained annatto seeds. Using annatto to deepen the colour of chocolate was common in Europe until the 17th century. In the Caribbean and Central American cultures, annatto has been used for thousands of years to treat everything from mild to potentially life-threatening diseases, making it an ancient superfood. Now on to the medical aspects. Annatto seeds are high in tocotrienol, a form of vitamin E. They are also a rich source of antioxidants, which are beneficial for protecting skin cells, as well as minerals like calcium, sodium, and iron. Annatto is used to improve digestion, help manage diabetes, strengthen healthy bones, and reduce signs of aging. Annatto condiments and colorants are safe for most people when used in food amounts, but they may cause allergic reactions in those who are sensitive. In one study of 61 patients with chronic hives or angioedema, 56 patients were orally provoked by annatto extract during an elimination diet. However, annatto is not among the big 8 substances causing hypersensitivity reactions, which are responsible for more than 90% of food-related allergic reactions. Annatto contains numerous plant-based compounds with antioxidant properties, including carotenoids, terpenoids, flavonoids, tocotrienols. That's it. Research suggests that this food colouring may have antimicrobial properties and could kill various pathogens and bacteria in the body. It may also be very effective against various foodborne diseases. In test tube studies, annatto extracts were shown to inhibit the growth of various bacteria, including Staphylococcus aureus and Escherichia coli. I look like a bit of bacteria today, I'm all green. In another test tube study, annatto killed various fungi, including Aspergillus niger, Neurospora cytophilia, and Rhizopus stolonifer. Some names right there, isn't it? Additionally, adding the dye to bread inhibited the growth of fungi, extending the bread's shelf life. Test tube studies have also found that extracts of this food colouring may suppress cancer cell growth and induce cell death in human prostate, pancreas, liver, and skin cancer cells, amongst other types of cancer. The potential anti-cancer properties of annatto have been linked to compounds it contains, including the carotenoids vixin and norbixin, and the tocotrienols. Human studies are needed to investigate these effects further though. Annatto is high in carotenoids, which may benefit eye health. In particular, it's high in carotenoids vixin and norbixin. We've been through that already. In an animal study, supplementing with norbixin for 3 months reduced the accumulation of certain compounds, which have been linked to age-related macular degeneration, AMD. AMD is the leading cause of irreversible blindness among older adults. Further human studies are needed before annatto can be recommended for this purpose though. As we've said, annatto is a good source of vitamin E compounds, which may protect against age-related heart issues. Several test tube studies indicated that annatto compounds may reduce numerous markers of inflammation. It has been suggested that annatto could have the property of reducing blood glucose levels, and studies show annatto has a hypoglycemic property in rats with severe diabetes mellitus. More human studies are again needed. I don't really like testing on animals at all. Obviously not for cosmetic reasons, but for medical reasons it's difficult, isn't it? Because there's a lot of ethics and whatnot involved. But as a rule, I don't really like animal testing, but for research purposes, it's hard. Definitely not for cosmetics though. Anyway, annatto seeds can be used to make essential oils that are used in aromatherapy and may have antimicrobial effects. Though it's uncommon, some people may experience an allergic reaction to it, especially if they have known allergies to plants in the Bicaceae family. Symptoms include itchiness, swelling, low blood pressure, hives, and stomach pain. In some situations, annatto may trigger symptoms of irritable bowel syndrome. IBS gang, stand up, or stay sitting down, whatever you want, I don't know. Pregnant or breastfeeding women should not consume it in amounts higher than those normally found in foods, as there aren't enough studies on its safety in these populations. Now we move on to the mythology and magical uses. I'll be honest, there wasn't really that much information when I was looking. But anyway, the achiote is known as the seed of fire. The species is named after Francisco de Orellana, a Spanish conquistador of the 16th century. It's said that he discovered the tropical Americas. Because of the red colouring, the ancient Mayas and Aztecs regarded it as a symbol substitute for blood and sacrifice, and therefore held it sacred. It repels negative energy and enemies. It's used for protection and for removing curses and hexes. Due to the orange-red colour, it stimulates courage and is a good addition in love spells. Annatto seeds correspond to fire, and therefore the fire signs, Aries, Leo and Sagittarius, the Sun and the planet Mars. I've had a look for some of the fire gods and goddesses in Aztec mythology, and in Aztec mythology there is Chantico, goddess of hearth fires and volcanoes, and Mixcoatl, I'm so sorry I don't know how to pronounce that, it's Mixcoatl, who was a hunting god who introduced fire to humanity. And in Mayan mythology there's Huracan, fire god of storms and wind who created and destroyed humanity, and Jacowitz, fire god who was companion of the sun god Tohil. These ancient gods and goddesses, though, should only be invoked if you have ancestral lineage or heritage in these cultures. Otherwise, it's inappropriate and cultural appropriation, and will most likely disrespect and anger them. So, anyway, just be respectful. Just be respectful of other people's practices, and don't go invoking any of these gods unless you have the lineage or heritage of these cultures. That's it for today. Pretty short one, but yeah, another one next week. No Lenny today, Wally's on the floor behind me, but it's so flipping hot that I don't really want to be snuggling him because he's very hairy and I'm quite sticky right now. So cheers.